Much, President de la Comunidad de Madrid, to honor us with your presence, where you receive us in your house, this spectacular Plaza de Toros. Thanks a lot, Minister, because not only you, but the organization that depends on you, Red.es and Endesa, are a fundamental key of this ecosystem. Many thanks, Neelie, because you've been a great support for all of us entrepreneurs. Thanks, Manuel, because INCYDE, with its great support for launching this entrepreneurial spirit and training them. Thanks, Federico, my friend, Endesa, for the team you support and promoting the summit from the first date and make it possible. Thank Google, Mary, to be here with your philosophy of Google for Entrepreneur as a great model to follow. Thanks very much, Santiago. Telefónica, it goes without saying that you are the pioneer of this ecosystem, not only in Spain, in a big, big country. What can I say of Mutua? Antonio, Mutua, you are the greatest friend and supporter since the beginning of this initiative. I'm here today only to say all of you thanks. Without of so many people and organizations that have supported us, the South Summit wouldn't have been possible. In the first place, thanks to Her Royal Majesties, the Kings of Spain, honorary presidents of our honor committee, and also to the members of this committee. Thanks to all the startups here, we are many huge. And thank you to the finalists. You are the best example of talent, creativity, and innovation that is generated in the South. Many thanks to the international investors and speakers that have come from all the world, eager to know more about the great projects of the South. Hope you'll make great business and don't want to leave Madrid. To our partners, many thanks. Ferrovial, Accenture, Sabadell, Iberdrola, Facebook, BBVA, SACIR, Bankia, ING, Correos, Técnicas Reunidas, Amazon, Campofrío, GE, Repsol, Bankinter, and Microsoft, that among other organizations are willing to find the innovation they need to develop their business. Thanks also to other players who work hard to fostering the ecosystem. ICEX, Axis, Madrid, Masí, Fundación EY de la Biodiversidad, Empresarios de Madrid, Madrid Emprende, ProMálaga, y CENIO, as well as the necessary lawyers, Ontier, Cuatro Casas, y Pérez Llorca. Spanish Startup is a successful example of how joining efforts and working together, you can get it. This story started at the beginning of 2012 with IB Business School and the best pieces of advice from José and Ignacio Garralda. I can't finish without my great thanks to my partners and team, Juanjo, Paris, Liz, Jaime, Sofia from Startup. Really, this hadn't been possible without her bright, her talent, and her attitude that has impulsed the summit, an extraordinary team. Many thanks, big team, for IE, Comunica, and for Startup. We've worked hard, but very happy to make this possible. So the party has started. Good luck to the 100 startup autoreros who are going to pitch you their projects in front of our bulls, who are the more than 400 investors, up to 1,000 corporations, and about 6,000 attendants. And just let me advise that this is not a conference event, but the place to make business. Go upstairs, move on, and get it. So, maestro, empieza la música. Tiene la palabra tú mismo, Javier Mira, from Mutua.
Tiro. Dear President of the Madrid Regional Government, Minister of Industry, Energy and Tourism, Vice President of the European Commission, President of Spain Startup, dear friends, good morning to you all. 3 years ago, Mutua Madrileña was the main support for the Spain Startup Summit, an initiative born with the aim of bringing about the largest forum of entrepreneurs and investors in our country, a place that for some would become a stage where ideas could be presented and funding obtained to develop them, and for others, a chance for detecting opportunities in which to trust, to invest, and to obtain a good return. It is clear that this project is now a reality. The South Summit has not only become a key player when speaking about support for entrepreneurs in Spain, but has now, in fact, traveled beyond our borders. 3 years have thus passed, during which the country has gone from suffering a very deep crisis to finally glimpsing the road to recovery. During this time, we should ask ourselves whether entrepreneurship in Spain has had more support than before, and if the answer is yes, as I believe it is, it would be worth reflecting on the path we should take in the future so that the effort we have invested does not remain, as is so often the case, as a mere set of good intentions. Indeed, the first thing we must do is to maintain a continuous and ever-increasing support for entrepreneurship in our country. We must continue to provide contact with investors and access to business networks, as is the case of this forum, and offer training and learning assistance and reward the best projects. This is what we have done at Mutua Madrileña, for instance, via our Soy Emprendedor initiative, which has benefited over 100 businessmen in the recent months, of whom 14 will present their projects these days at the South Summit. I encourage you to meet them during the marvelous forum we are all attending today. But at Mutua, we don't just stop at training and recognition, which are always very important. We also seek to have an active presence in the funding and support of this segment of businesses in the first phases of development. In fact, our investment policy not only includes the more traditional assets, such as fixed income and equities via our investment funds, but also this type of enterprises embracing new business projects. A large part of the resources we dedicate to this segment of emerging businesses are channeled via specialist asset managers, such as Kibo Ventures, of which Mutua is one of the main investors. Kibo manages one of the largest venture capital funds in Spain and focuses its activity on funding digital startups and entrepreneurs. Since 2011, it has invested over 20 million in 25 companies. Despite the increase in the entrepreneur support initiatives, both by large business organizations and, of course, the public administrations and the government via the law on support to entrepreneurs, I believe there is still work to be done. And the way to do it is to travel forwards along the path we have already begun. For this is the new challenge we face, to provide to entrepreneurs the funding to enable the startup of the best projects, applying the utmost discerning and rigor in selection of such projects. In summary, to render the task of enterprise and of carving a niche in the market a little less difficult, something which has never been clearer than at the present time. I refer to the fact, I'm not certain whether historical, but indeed unheard in the last 50 years in Spain, of having a financial scenario that is so ripe for finding capital to be invested in new businesses. Nowadays, institutional investors, such as large insurance companies like ourselves, find hard to find financial investment that are minimally profitable in light of public debt, corporate debt bank, and bank deposits offering yields close to zero. Moreover, this situation seems likely to continue for at least 2 or 3 more years. You must not ignore this opportunity to persuade capital investors that your projects are worth funding. Don't think you will always find such a favorable environment. Be aware of this and try to reap the benefit. In short, a lot has been done, and there is still much to be done. But perhaps one of the risks that threaten continuity of sustained support to entrepreneurship is precisely that the word and the concept of entrepreneurship has flooded the political and media discourse to such an extent that is beginning to appear jaded. This is why we must avoid at all costs that the recognition and the support for entrepreneurship become but a passing fashion, on that as soon as the economic activity resumes the dynamism and goes hand in hand, as we all hope, with an increase of job creation, society forgets all about it, moving the focus of attention with its innate capacity for change to a different area of interest. However, a high level of entrepreneurship is without doubt a sign of a healthy economy, and the networks of support for new entrepreneurs continue. If the networks of support for new entrepreneurs continue to grow, many of our young people will not only have more possibilities of bringing their strength, will, optimism, and initiative to the generation of wealth, but would also contribute to changing our way of life, allowing for things to be done in a different way they have been to date. I wish you all the best luck and success in wherever you start up in life. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Javier, for your words. Santiago Fernández Valbuena, Director General de Estrategia de Telefónica.
Thank you, Maria. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, Minister, Commissioner, authorities. I was supposed to deliver in a few minutes an introduction of what we do at Telefónica in terms of innovation. But I think I will take this opportunity to tell you a bit of a story. Our company is more than 90 years old. We are a large conglomerate selling more than 60 billion euros or so. For many of us, on the right side of middle age now, in graying hair, we see that the future holds many promises and many challenges, and many of them are not going to be addressable with the tools that we have today. That's part of the reason why Telefónica started Open Future. Open Future is an umbrella project where we try and do things the right way. What is the right way? Well, we've tried all the other ways. We've tried to foster innovation from within. We've tried to create lab environments where engineers will develop their things. We've tried to buy companies and nurture them from the start. None of them was very successful. We've had some good days and some not so good days. Then we decided that maybe the future is going to be different from the past. Maybe the digital society where we now live requires a different skill set. And so we decided to start afresh, to start from ground zero again. How? By doing things like the South Summit, by participating in open, collaborative, and flat projects, rather than going the old ways of telecoms, which were more vertical, self-contained, inward-looking. So if there is something that we feel proud of having started, is this project. Belonging and collaborating with things like the South Summit, what we think is that we're putting our strength behind everybody else's to provide for a more open, more collaborative, and certainly a richer and wealthier future. It is a privilege for us to be associated with this name, and it's a privilege for Telefónica to continue pushing on all fronts with everything that we have. So for those of you who are much, much younger than I am, for those of you who think that old habits die hard, think again. Entrepreneurship is not about age. it's about attitude. And if you change your attitude, as we are trying to do, you may score some gains. Finally, just a word from my Spanish origins. Do you know why you are here today? Because this is the moment of truth. In bullfighting, right where we are, the moment of truth is when the matador raises its spade and tries to kill the bull. Killing bulls is not for everyone's taste, but certainly it's not an act devoid of courage. It takes courage to be an entrepreneur, but it takes double courage to be an entrepreneur if you come from an old company with lots of sales and therefore a lot at risk. We feel proud to be associated. Remember just one more thing before I leave you. When the sun rises from the east and sets on the west, it goes up and then goes down. When do you think the sun is at its highest? When are the stars at the highest point? When they point to the south. Welcome to the south. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Santiago. It's great to listen to you. And now, Federico Fea, Director de Innovación de Endesa.
Good morning, everyone. Presidente de la Comunidad de Madrid, Ministro de Industria, Energía y Turismo, Vice President for the European Commission, authorities, Maria, ladies and gentlemen, and most of all, startuppers, good morning once again. We are very proud to be here for the second year in a row, supporting the summit, fostering innovation and high-tech employment. As you may know, the electricity industry is facing radical changes. Thanks to new technologies and increasing environmental awareness, the classical, current, centralized, unidirectional model is going through a much more decentralized, multidirectional model, bringing new opportunities and opening new market called new downstream that Endesa wants to lead. In order to do so, we cannot leverage only on our strengths, but we need to leverage on collective intelligence. That's why we have built an open innovation model in which startup plays a key role. We are quite young in this field. We started 24 months ago, and we figure out that the relationship between a big multinational such as the Enel Group and startup can actually bring mutual benefits. Moreover, we figure out that each startup, each of you guys, are unique. So we built a very wide offer in order to find the best way to work together. On the very classical, let's say, equity side, we launched the Enel Lab project, which can bring up to 605,000 euros to each startup and a 2-year incubation program. The program is working very well. The Spanish startup, which we are working, Mirobi, is working very well, past the second phase, and we are about to launch a massive test in Spain and in Italy. But we do not also have non-equity consideration, and here I'm very proud to announce that on the 15th of October this year, we are going together with the rest of the Enel Group and our partners, the Funding Box and Accelerance, we are going to launch the first open call of the INCYDE acceleration program, co-founded by the European Union. And I would like here to take advantage of this opportunity for making a special thanks to the Vice President of the European Commission, Neelie Kroes, for making this possible. Thank you to these initiatives. Up to 42 startups can have up to 150,000 euros and a 6-month acceleration program for all startups working in the clean tech technologies using fireware technologies. Moreover, and last but not least, I'd like to mention our very flexible, the more flexible initiatives that we have for startups is the Endesa2244.com. It's an open door to entrepreneurs. And here, I mean, we are absolutely 100% flexible. We will find the best way to work together. And I'm very proud, and I must say thank you once again to Maria, thank you to these initiatives and to the Spain Startup Summit last year. We met brilliant startups with which we've been working together with brilliant results so far that we hope we will bring soon to the market. So let me conclude saying that Endesa is fully committed to foster a new and more sustainable energy model based on the efficient electrification of final energy demand. I hope that all of you guys, startuppers, will be part of it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Federico. Mary, it's your turn. We are eager to listen.
Buenos dias. Good morning, Madrid. How are you? Great. Well, good morning. My name is Mary Grove, and I'm the director of Google for Entrepreneurs. And it is a tremendous honor to be here with you today, celebrating the strong startup community here in Spain. And congratulations to Maria and the whole team at the South Summit. At Google, we are deeply passionate about entrepreneurship. We began as a startup in a garage 16 years ago. We are a company founded by entrepreneurs, built by entrepreneurial people, and passionate about supporting the next generation of startups to be successful. About 3 years ago, we started our own startup within the company, and we called it Google for Entrepreneurs. And our mission is to bring together startup communities and to create spaces for entrepreneurs to connect and learn. We do this because we truly believe that entrepreneurs are the backbone of economic development, and when they succeed, all of us succeed in the community. Our current model with Google for Entrepreneurs is to work with strong partners. We back the best community organizations in the world. Today, we are working with about 55 partners, reaching together 129 countries. At the core of our work, we realize that physical spaces are paramount to bringing together startup communities and giving them a home and a home base. Around the world, we support 24 different partner tech hub spaces, ranging from the factory in Berlin to Numa in Paris to 88 miles per hour in Nairobi, Kenya. And 2.5 years ago, we decided to launch our own experiment in physical space. So many of you may have heard of Campus London. And Campus London is our space for entrepreneurs to come connect, learn, and build companies we ultimately hope will change the world. Over the last 2.5 years, we've learned a tremendous amount, and we've really been amazed by what's happened with the community in London. Last year, in 2013, we had 70,000 participants come through the doors of campus. Startups in campus created 576 new jobs, and 274 startups raised a collective 43 million euros in capital. So we see that when we have this density in a community, amazing things can happen. So this week, we are very proud to be here to be announcing Campus Madrid. And why Spain, and why Madrid specifically? 4 reasons. Number 1, Spain has a long history of entrepreneurship. Spain was built by entrepreneurs. We know here that in Spain, there are 10 million businesses which are run by 10 people or less. So Spain is built on the backbone of entrepreneurs. Number 2, because the time is right now. We know that there is an economic imperative. If we look just across Europe alone, There are 700,000 jobs that are unfilled because the workforce doesn't have the technical skills necessary. And we, with Campus Madrid, we hope to be part of that education to help propel us all forward. Number 3 is because of our local Google team here in Madrid. We have 200 passionate Googlers in the office with expertise in a number of areas, and we hope to bring that magic to campus. And number 4, because we believe in the promise of Spanish entrepreneurs to go global, to build the next global companies and global products that will change the world. So a few more details about Campus Madrid specifically. We're working hard right now. We are planning to open in the spring of 2015. The building is a standalone building. It's about 20,000 square feet, which is 1,900 square meters. And it's one of 4 new campuses that Google is launching next year, alongside Warsaw in Poland, Sao Paulo, Brazil, and Seoul, South Korea. And with Campus London and Tel Aviv, this is a total of 6 spaces around the world. So my point here is that Spain is very squarely on the map. Membership at campus will be free, and let me explain to you what happens in a campus. So campus is not a Google office, it's not a Google incubator, it's really a space and a central hub to bring together the best ingredients from the ecosystem. So there are 4 different components of what happens inside. The first is about community space. And we have a large cafe where you as entrepreneurs can come, fuel up on a great cup of coffee, have a meeting with an investor, work for the day for free. In London, we've seen a number of our founders there serendipitously meet their co-founder just working in the cafe. The second part is around large event space for the community, and I understand from entrepreneurs that event space is often free, it is often expensive and difficult to find. So we have plenty of free event space where any community organization can apply to host an event for free, so long as it's for the community. The next component is co-working, so that we as entrepreneurs can come rent a desk, either temporarily or permanently, and Google's not getting into the co-working space business. Our model is to partner with local co-working spaces to run the business inside and to offer this space to work. The third component is around education, and we will work with accelerators and incubators to come run the best of their programs from Campus Madrid. And the fourth component, of course, is around Google. So bringing our own talent, our own passion to the community. We will host office hours, mentorship sessions. Last year at Campus London, we hosted over 1,000 hours of mentorship by Google teams, and we hope to bring the same here to Madrid. And Campus Madrid, I should say, is a hub for all of Spain and, in fact, all of the region. And it's part of this global network. So entrepreneurs at Campus Spain, Campus Madrid, have access to all of our tech hub spaces around the world and all of our campuses. So in closing, as I look at the future here in Spain and in the South in general, I see a very, very bright promise. And we hope that together we can help foster the 5 key ingredients to creating successful startup ecosystems. And that includes talent, a successful, motivated talent pool. That includes density, trying to bring together the various aspects of the community into one robust place. That includes culture, a culture that celebrates risk and failure and is not afraid to swing for the fences. That's a regulatory environment that is supportive of supporting entrepreneurs and creating new endeavors. And that has access to capital, cultivating a robust network of angel investors and later stage investors as well. So to me, entrepreneurship is about freedom, it's about expression, it's about development, it's about changing the world. And I truly believe that entrepreneurship can be our generation's legacy, and we look forward to helping create this and grow this in Spain and beyond. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mary. You've great news for Madrid and for Spain. And now, Manuel Teruel is your term, is the presidente de la Confederación de Cámaras de Comercio.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Presidente de la Comunidad de Madrid, Ignacio González, señor Ministro de Industria y Turismo, José Manuel Soria, Vicepresidenta de la Comisión Europea, Neelie Kroes, representantes de las empresas Telefónica, Google, Mutua Madrileña, Presidenta de Spain Startup, querida María, autoridades, emprendedoras y emprendedores. En primer lugar, quiero agradecer a María Benjumea, la presidenta de Spain Startup, que ha tenido la amabilidad de invitar a la Fundación de las Cámaras, a Fundación INCYDE, para participar no solo en este acto de inauguración, sino también en la agenda potente de estos 3 días. Amigas y amigos, estarán de acuerdo conmigo que el mundo evoluciona a gran velocidad. Cambian las comunicaciones, la cultura, las relaciones personales y, consecuentemente, las relaciones económicas y la forma de hacer negocios. Hoy es difícil imaginar un negocio que tenga un objetivo único y en un mercado de ámbito local. La realidad es que estamos en un mundo global donde competimos todos contra todos en un gran tablero que es el mundo. Hoy, el bien más escaso es la iniciativa emprendedora y la inteligencia competitiva, porque la inteligencia competitiva y la iniciativa emprendedora son el alma de la generación de la riqueza y el empleo. Hoy se sabe valorar la cultura emprendedora, porque el futuro pasa por el fomento de ella entre los jóvenes. Los jóvenes aportáis creatividad, capacidad de innovación, espíritu emprendedor y, además, hay que reconocer que tenéis menos aversión al riesgo y, por supuesto, una mayor sensibilidad hacia los cambios tecnológicos, porque vuestra juventud os permite tener la capacidad de ser visionarios del futuro. El futuro sois vosotros. Y nadie mejor que los jóvenes para liderar este cambio que nuestra sociedad está pidiendo. En Europa, en el mundo, todos los países están buscando fórmulas para estimular el crecimiento económico, el desarrollo social y una mayor capacidad competitiva de sus economías para la creación de empleo. Pero ¿quién genera actualmente el empleo en Europa? La respuesta es muy sencilla. La respuesta está en esta sala. Los emprendedores y las empresas que apuestan por innovar. Son aquellas que están generando, en términos reales, más de 4 millones de puestos de trabajo al año en Europa. Amigas y amigos, durante cierto tiempo parecía que solo podían crearse empresas con éxito en el Silicon Valley, ahí en la lejana California. Por suerte, este estereotipo está superado. Hoy encontramos emprendedores de éxito en actividades de fuerte contenido tecnológico en todos los países y prácticamente en todas las ciudades. Este evento de hoy y lo que aquí va a ocurrir durante los próximos 3 días es el mayor exponente del emprendimiento en España. Crear empresas y que se consoliden requiere de la participación e implicación de todos los agentes. Las administraciones son fundamentales para generar un marco regulatorio que favorezca la actividad empresarial, la innovación y la actividad de los inversores. Tenemos que lograr la simplificación de los procesos administrativos, porque no solo ayuda a las empresas en sus comienzos, sino también a cerrar en caso de fracasos. Porque el fracaso también es parte de la cultura emprendedora. Hay que aceptarlo y valorarlo como lo que es una gran experiencia y lo que es el primer paso para una legítima segunda oportunidad. Combatir la estigmatización del fracaso es clave para superar las barreras que limiten a aquellas personas porque tienen miedo al riesgo. Esto es una cuestión cultural que debemos superar. Para ello, debemos fomentar el contacto entre emprendedores consolidados y potenciales emprendedores para que compartan experiencias, sus éxitos y fracasos, y es lo que hoy en este acto celebramos. Este debe ser uno de los principales objetivos de este evento. Otro gran objetivo debe ser fomentar la interacción entre emprendedores, empresas y capital. Independientemente del grado de desarrollo de un proyecto, la financiación siempre es una pieza clave para cualquier empresa. Los fondos públicos son un buen instrumento para empujar las etapas iniciales y para atraer inversores privados. Y estos, los inversores privados, deben ser los que de verdad impulsen el sistema de financiación dinámico y eficaz que nuestros emprendedores necesitan. Y he querido dejar para el final una de las piedras angulares del desarrollo de la actividad económica, el capital humano. Vivimos en la sociedad del conocimiento y de la tecnología, y con estos mimbres vamos a construir el modelo económico del siglo XXI. Y no cabe duda que las empresas dependen cada vez más de las tecnologías, pero cada vez más necesitan personas creativas, con capacidad para gestionar los problemas, que sean flexibles y capaces de trabajar en equipo. y entre todos fomentar la actitud emprendedora, empezando por los colegios, por las universidades, apostando por los que hoy estáis aquí y dando la segunda oportunidad a quien ya lo intentó, es la clave de éxito y de futuro. Amigas y amigos, desde la Fundación INCYDE de las Cámaras de Comercio nos dedicamos a dar formación y a organizar talleres prácticos sobre creación y gestión de empresas, como lo que vamos a organizar aquí en este Startup School, gracias al apoyo de la Cámara de Comercio de Madrid y al Fondo Social Europeo. Os invito a todos a que asistáis a las actividades, seguro que son muy productivas. Hoy tenemos un buen ejemplo de colaboración en esta mesa con administraciones públicas de todos los niveles, grandes empresas, inversores y, por supuesto, lo más importante, emprendedores. Con este espíritu de colaboración, desde la Fundación INCYDE queremos brindar nuestro apoyo a todo tipo de iniciativas y espero y deseo que en los próximos 3 días sean muy intensos y fructíferos para todos. Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias, Manuel, por tus palabras. And now, I would like to introduce you a woman that we will like to honor today for her tremendous contribution for the European startup ecosystem. Please join me in welcoming my friend Neelie Kroes.
Buenos días. Buenos días, emprendedores. What I would like to say, and José Manuel, my dear friend, minister, Spanish minister who is fighting for the best of Spain, I'm impressed that this event is organized here. It is symbolic, for there is a fighting spirit here. And Maria, you deserve absolutely applause for that. Just to share a couple of remarks, private remarks with you. 5 years ago, it was the end of my term in office as a competition commissioner. 5 years, blood, sweat, no tears, but blood, sweat. Quite a number of companies that didn't behave and where I had to fine them, and quite heavily, so to say. And then it was over. And my political party wasn't in government, so for me it was absolutely certain, no way that there would be a second term. Long story, I won't bother you with that. The Prime Minister at that time jumped over his shadow. It took a bit of time, that's more with Prime Ministers. But okay, he did. And at the end, there were only 4 portfolios left. And President Barroso wanted me to join his team, and he said, Neelie, you can pick out of the 4. For your Prime Minister was too late. And I picked out the digital agenda, and he just winked at me. He said, you got it. When I returned home, people were congratulating me and saying, great that you have a second term, but poor you, digital agenda. And I said, wait and see, for I'm absolutely certain, and certainly now able to judge. And still, competition policy is needed, we need a referee, and so on and so forth. But to be quite open to you, what is really making sense is just jumping in that whole change of a society. Not only a digital economy, and that is a fact of life. It is a digital economy. Those who are saying we are not interested, they are old-fashioned, and that's not at stake. So when I started, and believe it or not, my first trip in the first week in that second term in office was to Madrid. It was to the campus party. And I didn't have a clue what I was going to. And my people said, you have to, and it is fun, and so on. Can you imagine thousands of youngsters, the youngest 13-year-old and the eldest 30 years old, camping in one of those huge halls in Madrid, and there was the campus party. It was all about digital, it was all about those fascinating technologies that were developed and so on and so forth. And at a certain moment I was just sitting with a bite next to a couple of youngsters, 2 13-year-old Spanish entrepreneurs. And I was listening to them, and they were showing each other on their screens, on their devices, what they had invented. And I was listening and I thought, you are crazy. And at a certain moment, I'm Dutch and not a diplomat and so on. So I was mentioning to one of them, you are crazy. You are just giving your information, your invention to your competitor. And he looked at me. It was the wisest lesson I ever got. He looked at me and he said, Mrs. Commissioner, you are old-fashioned. And I said, pardon me? What do you mean? And he said, your generation is protecting what you find out, and our generation is sharing and joining. That is the wisest lesson. And he went on, and he said, with sharing and joining, for both of us, the final result is better. And he had a point, and he has a point. And by the way, he was an entrepreneur, 13-year-old, who had already started up 3 companies. And at a certain moment, I was discussing with him, and I said, why do you take your father with you? And he said, I have to. For if I have to sign an agreement with one of those people here, I'm not allowed to sign. And then my father signed. He doesn't have a clue what he is signing, but I said, you have to sign over there. So can you imagine that change, that completely changed? And now, nearby 5 years later, being back in Madrid, being in such an inspiring and a fighting spirit audience, it's great. And I'm absolutely certain, Google never does something for nothing. They are smart, I can assure you. So starting here is just thought over. And you are lucky ones, but they are lucky ones too, for they have you as their constituency in a way. And what is at stake? When people are saying, goodness, still the economy, you are not waiting till politicians, also not on the first row and standing here, have solved the problems. You are taking your own initiative. And that is what's giving me hope for Europe, with so much talent, with so much talented people, and especially talking about the younger generation, they will take the lead and they will lead Europe even in a higher speed to better positions. And when people are asking me, what after 10 years in Brussels, what is your worry and what is your challenge? My challenge is you, and that's not to be polite to you, for I'm not a diplomat, and I mentioned that already. I'm rather rude and so on. But what is at stake? You, the younger generation, are not waiting. That is main. But what is giving me really a worry, and that is the biggest worry in Europe, it is the youth unemployment. It's not talking about you. You took already that initiative, but still figures that are tremendous, and certainly in some member states, absolutely unacceptable when in a member state in Europe, member of the European family, figures of 60% youth unemployed are at stake. That is an attack on a democracy. That is a lost generation. We can't accept that. So we have to do whatever we can. And therefore, at a certain moment, when people were in the mood, also around me in Brussels, in the offices, and saying, and people in audiences, people were saying, our talent is leaving Europe and they are going to Silicon Valley. And I said, but some are coming back, and they are not all leaving for Silicon Valley. By the way, it could be win-win. And when they went on, I said, let's invite 9 startups who are successful. And of course, I'm aware that with the startups that are successful, there are a lot that are not successful. That is reality. But then I'm coming back to the point of Mary. It is about our mentality. Our mentality in Europe should change. When there is a failure, it is not bad at all. It is a learning process. And I'm very blunt to you. I have a list of failures you wouldn't believe. And I have a list of successes. But the list of successes I take for granted. For I worked hard, I did my utmost, and with my list of failures, much longer, I always say, never ever that failure again, for that is my learning curve. And therefore, we have to change the mentality in Europe that a failure is negative. It's not. You need it in your total process of growing up and to be a real entrepreneur, or to be a real academicus, or to be a real researcher. Having said that, so let's take that one. Failure is not bad at all. And out-of-the-box thinking. Let's take that one. And you have it. You are out-of-the-box thinkers. So all in all, then I invited 9 of those people, and they are successful. They are not anymore startups. They are the guys from 20. They are the guys of Vira. They are the kinds of Skype and Spotify. And I invited them for a cup of coffee in my office. To be honest to you, they were very cynical, and mostly people are behaving and quite nice in my office. But this group, not at all. So with such a face, why are you inviting us? And I said, come on, take a cup of coffee. It's nice coffee, it's Dutch coffee, and so on. And they said, go on, why did you invite us? And I said, I need you, for you are the proof that we do have so much talented people. And I want to find out why, in certain cases, people are not successful, and give us advice what we could change on a European level, on a national level, what we could do. And they said, okay, deal. They went off, and within a couple of weeks, they came back with a text, and that was the Startup Manifesto. And in the Startup Manifesto, it is just a list of to-dos for the European setting, for the national settings, all the member states, sometimes local or regional, and it makes sense. It is just absolutely great. You still can have it, that manifesto, you still can sign it, you still can make it happening that what is at stake in that manifesto will be done. But what is fascinating even more, and they were the proof that it can happen in Europe, that on national levels, that it is starting too. For start with a national manifesto. Start with a national manifesto in which you are confronting your politicians on all the levels, what has to be done to make it happen. For in most cases, when people are saying it's so difficult, I'm always saying, okay, and next, for it's so difficult, I can't eat that. So be specific and be absolutely great in explaining. Of course, sometimes you need a little bit of money for developing better apps. We made a reservation of 80 million euros. And you can use it. You can just use it for such a startup. What is worrying me, and I'm linking back to the youth unemployment, but in general terms, there is an imbalance in Europe talking about skills. For example, and especially focusing on the digital-oriented industry sector, they are facing an absolutely unfilled number of jobs that they have to fulfill of 1 million, so 1 million jobs. And they came over to me and they said, Neelie, 1 million jobs can be fulfilled. We can't find the people in Europe. What can we do? And if there is no solution, we are leaving Europe. And I said, no way, not leaving Europe, no way, unless you have better arguments to leave Europe. We should fix that together. And what we did is the Grand Coalition. And the Grand Coalition is an initiative of those companies, and quite a number of companies are involved in the meantime, 50 big ones and a number of smaller ones and middle ones who are just announcing on the internet what they are looking for, what they could offer. And there are so many people unemployed, more than 25 million people, by the way, quite a number of females too. So come on, just visit that website, find out what you are missing in your curriculum, and those companies are just offering you a training program, education, and if you are fulfilling that, then you have the guarantee that you get a job. Well, then you are talking. Then it is demand and supply more in balance. It's not, of course, the final answer for the unemployment issue, but quite a bit could be interested. And nearby, 90% of all the jobs are related to one way or another with digital. So what we are doing now is also asking national governments, start on your level. And I know that José Manuel and his colleagues are thinking over in starting such a national grand coalition, in making it closer to the people. What we are doing from January on, we will launch a new network linking Madrid with the ecosystems in Berlin, in Dublin, in Milan, just a few of the 16 European cities connected by a pilot, a startup, a part of a Startup Europe. In the meantime, I'm absolutely aware that the Startup Europe partnership, where Telefónica, BBVA, and Empresa are joining, is a success. I want that every European also is not only able to read and write, but also to code. And we should start, and I was quite impressed by the information of Madrid, what Madrid is already doing and other cities in the coding activities. Next Saturday, the coding week all over Europe is starting. It will be the start of giving all those youngsters, also the 7-year-old and higher in age, they are just getting information about events from classrooms to hackathons to university workshops and so on. So all in all, with the Startup Manifesto, with the Grand Coalition, with our funding, for example, app developers, but also taking into account that, and I'm so delighted, the end of this month, normally spoken, it is the end of the Commission Barroso. It will be November, the new Commission Juncker. And Juncker did appoint a couple of people, and I will be replaced by 3 men. That is, now we are talking, huh? So 3 men who are taking over the digital agenda. One is indeed the Digital Agenda Commissioner, Günther Oettinger. 2 vice presidents, one is taking the digital agenda and the other one is the digital economy. So all in all, it's giving a lot of hope. It is absolutely now, and with your talent, and with your inspiration, and with your initiatives, just be open and communicate. Don't sit at home and think, why didn't they do that? You have to communicate what you think should be done. For together, we can set Europe on the map again in the driver's seat. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Neelie, for your words and for all you've done during these years. And thank you very much, Minister, to be here. So, with all of us, el Ministro de Industria, de Energía y de Turismo, José Manuel Soria. Muchas gracias, Ministro.
Presidente de la Comunidad de Madrid, vicepresidenta de la Comisión Europea, distinguidas autoridades, señoras y señores. En primer lugar, permítanme que exprese mi felicitación a los organizadores de esta cumbre de startups y emprendedores. y expresar también mi gratitud, mi agradecimiento por la invitación que se me hace para participar en este acto de apertura y además darme la oportunidad para poder compartir con todos ustedes algunas reflexiones en relación a la importancia que el Gobierno de España otorga a la empresa, a los emprendedores y a los startups. La importancia que le otorga como motor de la recuperación económica en España. Me parece que esta cumbre es importante por distintas razones. En primer lugar, no menor, por el altísimo nivel de quienes a lo largo de estas jornadas van a intervenir, estableciendo y compartiendo los distintos puntos de vista que desde el punto de vista tanto de la financiación, de la aceleración de proyectos o de la emprendeduría están llevando a cabo. En segundo lugar, me parece también importante esta cumbre por la presencia de la vicepresidenta de la Comisión Europea, Neelie Kroes. Y me gustaría, de una manera singular, ahora que llega al fin la etapa de esta Comisión Europea, agradecerle a Neelie Kroes el trabajo que ha desarrollado a lo largo de los últimos años. Thanks very much, Neelie. We do very much appreciate what you have been doing during the last 5 years. I think you've been working hard to settle the basis to have a real economic union through getting and reaching a single telecommunications market. We do very much appreciate, and above all, we appreciate the whole support you have been giving us during these years here in Spain, in many summits in the world, mobile phone, in Barcelona, and in the future. We do hope to count again and always with you. With our heart, thanks very much indeed. También y quisiera resaltar en tercer lugar otra de las razones por las que me parece importante la celebración de esta cumbre. Y es que pone en valor lo que es la actividad de la emprendeduría. Hasta no hace mucho tiempo, cuando se preguntaba a los jóvenes españoles qué era lo que les gustaría ser y hacer, un gran porcentaje decía que querían trabajar en la función pública, que querían ser funcionarios, que querían trabajar en las administraciones públicas, a lo cual no tengo nada que objetar. Yo mismo soy funcionario del Estado y prácticamente toda mi trayectoria profesional la he dedicado al servicio público y también una parte importante a la política. Solo que, en mi opinión, el peso de las administraciones públicas en una economía debe ser aquel estricto, el necesario, para sentar las condiciones justamente para que quienes tienen iniciativas, quienes tienen ideas, quienes tienen proyectos, para que las empresas puedan llevarlos efectivamente a cabo. Y para ello hacen falta dos cosas. En primer lugar, que hayan emprendedores con ideas, que las conviertan en proyectos, que las conviertan en empresas. Hace falta también, en segundo lugar, quien financie esas ideas. Hacen falta financiadores, hacen falta aceleradores de esos proyectos y luego también hacen falta grandes grupos, grandes corporaciones que también las hagan suyas y puedan también empujar a los pequeños. Pero no solo se trata de tener un entorno, un ecosistema de emprendedores, financiadores y grandes corporaciones. Se trata también de que haya un entorno económico y macroeconómico que ayude, que empuje y que incentive la inversión. Se los digo porque hace muy poco tiempo la situación en la economía española no era exactamente y desafortunadamente la más propicia para invertir. De hecho, hace solamente 3 años los inversores extranjeros no solo no venían a España, se iban de España. Era el momento, principios del año 2012, cuando teníamos fuertes desequilibrios en nuestra economía. Teníamos desequilibrios en nuestras cuentas públicas, teníamos desequilibrios en el sector exterior, teníamos un riesgo país que llegaba por encima de los 600 puntos básicos en relación, en términos de emisiones de bonos del Tesoro, en relación al coste de emisión, por ejemplo, del bono alemán. Las condiciones financieras internacionales para la economía española estaban situadas en entornos superiores al 7%. Ciertamente no era la situación más propicia para emprender ni para invertir. Eran momentos, lo recordarán muchos de los que están aquí, donde en relación a España, dentro y fuera de España, lo que se hablaba, se comentaba y se decía era ¿por qué el Gobierno no pide un bailout de la economía española? ¿A qué espera el Gobierno? Recuerdo que a mitad del año 2012 el Fondo Monetario Internacional se refería a la economía española diciendo es el mayor riesgo para la recuperación de la economía en el mundo. Eso decía el Fondo Monetario Internacional exactamente a mitad del año 2012. Ayer, exactamente ayer, en el último World Economic Outlook, el Fondo Monetario Internacional, al hablar de las perspectivas de la economía europea, dice que será la economía española la que tenga el mejor comportamiento de la zona euro durante el año 2015 y el segundo mejor comportamiento después del Reino Unido de toda la Unión Europea. No ha sido casual, se los puedo garantizar. Ha habido una política económica concreta, una política económica encaminada a la corrección de los desequilibrios básicos, una política económica que también tengo que reconocer, no ha sido fácil de aplicar, ni fácil de explicar, mucho menos fácil de entender, pero ha sido una política económica que nos ha puesto en la ruta de corrección de los desequilibrios y que hoy España sea una economía a la que los inversores internacionales quieren venir. Ya no nos dicen, cuando salimos los miembros del Gobierno, ¿por qué no piden un rescate? Ahora lo que nos dicen es, ¿cuáles son los sectores en los cuales considera el Gobierno que hay oportunidades para invertir en España? Y son muchos. El sector de las infraestructuras, en las industrias, la industria agroalimentaria, el sector de las telecomunicaciones, todo lo que tiene que ver con la economía digital. Ahí hay enormes oportunidades y por eso creo que esta cumbre también es una gran oportunidad para poner en valor esa nueva situación, esas nuevas perspectivas, el nuevo atractivo que tiene la economía española. Hablaba la directora de Google con anterioridad, su decisión, la decisión de la corporación de hacer el campus Google en Madrid. Es una buena decisión. Le felicito, están en el lugar adecuado, en el momento adecuado, pero también invito al resto de las grandes corporaciones y fondos de inversión a que no pierdan este tipo de oportunidades. Y no solo no pierdan las oportunidades que ofrece la economía española, sino que, sobre todo, no desaprovechen el enorme talento que se pone de manifiesto detrás de las startups y emprendedores que hoy se congregan aquí. Y finalmente quisiera decir también una cuestión a la cual ya se ha referido mi buena amiga Neelie. No tengan miedo al fracaso. Muchas veces en Europa tenemos la cultura de que se intenta una vez y ya vale. Si sale bien, éxito, y si no sale bien, a otra cosa. Creo que no es un buen camino. El buen camino es tomar nota de que de cada fracaso se aprende una lección. Y si se fracasa una segunda vez, hay que persistir una segunda vez, y una tercera y una cuarta, porque lo importante al final es lo que ustedes hacen, que es tener un sueño, ese sueño convertirlo en una idea, esa idea en un proyecto y ese proyecto en una empresa. Eso es lo que saca adelante las economías y por eso le damos tanta importancia a la labor que ustedes hacen. Adelante y muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias, ministro. Muchas gracias por esas palabras. Presidente de la comunidad, nada nos gusta más que vengas a clausurar este acto, Ignacio González.
Buenos días a todos. Muchas gracias por estar aquí. Excelentísima señora vicepresidenta de la Comisión, señor ministro, mi buen amigo José Manuel, señora presidenta del Spain Startup, queridos señor presidente del Consejo Superior de Cámaras, señores consejeros, señor presidente de los empresarios madrileños, representantes de distintas instituciones, empresarios, inversores, jóvenes que están aquí esta mañana, bienvenidos a Madrid. Quiero empezar estas palabras, como es lógico, agradeciendo a la presidenta, a María, el hecho de que un año más nos haya invitado a estar aquí esta mañana y, sobre todo, la confianza que ha depositado en Madrid para que se celebre este South Summit una vez más aquí en nuestra ciudad, con la presencia de tantos empresarios jóvenes emprendedores. I know that some of you are English speakers, so I would like to say a few words in your language. Welcome to Madrid, and thank you for being here. Your presence is really important for us. Thanks to you, our entrepreneurs will learn about other innovative projects, and at the same time, they will be able to show the world their great ideas. One of our Nobel Prizes, Ramon y Cajal, said once that ideas do not last long. We must do something with them. And somehow, this summit is all about that. During 3 days, Las Ventas will become a meeting point for young people who want to boost their startups and business angels that can support them with their experience, contacts, and resources. For Madrid, it's a pleasure to host a forum of this nature. We believe that the good performance of our economy and even our future prosperity necessarily involves having a dynamic and innovative private sector. And now I am going to continue my language. Por definición, una startup es una empresa de nueva creación que normalmente tiene un importante componente tecnológico y que presenta grandes posibilidades de crecimiento. Una startup, como las que se ponen aquí en este South Summit, conjuga 3 aspectos que son esenciales para el presente, pero sobre todo para el futuro de nuestra sociedad. Por una parte, la iniciativa, por otra, la innovación y, en tercer lugar, la creación de riqueza. Una startup es iniciativa e innovación porque su germen es la idea de alguien que, como los jóvenes aquí presentes, quieren cambiar la realidad en mayor o menor medida. Detrás de una empresa de este tipo, como se ha dicho aquí, hay un sueño. Y como aconseja uno de los fundadores de Google, Larry Page, cuando un sueño aparece hay que agarrarlo y hay que intentar hacerlo realidad con ambición y sin miedo. Esto exige mucho trabajo. No sé si hasta el extremo que decía Bill Gates, que en los inicios de Microsoft no se cogía ni un día libre, pero sí implica desde luego un gran esfuerzo, una gran idea, un gran entusiasmo, una determinación para llevarlo adelante y seguir avanzando por muchas que fueran las dificultades que encontrásemos. El éxito de una startup no solo servirá a sus impulsores para desarrollar un proyecto y un sueño, una ilusión que les satisfaga personal y laboralmente, sino sobre todo su éxito contribuirá al éxito de nuestra sociedad, especialmente ahora que la tecnología, como nos ha explicado muy bien la vicepresidenta de la Comisión, está cambiando todos los paradigmas industriales y comerciales. Por ello, las administraciones públicas no podemos ser un estorbo, como decía el presidente del Consejo Superior de Cámaras, para el desarrollo de todas estas empresas, sino que debemos generar el entorno adecuado para que estas iniciativas puedan desarrollarse, consolidarse y crecer. Lamentablemente, parece que en Europa vamos con algo de retraso con respecto a otros de nuestros aliados, puesto que en los últimos 25 años no hemos sido capaces de crear una startup valorada en más de 10.000 millones de dólares. Mientras que en Estados Unidos van camino ya de las 50, con el impacto que eso tiene, sin duda, en el desarrollo futuro. Conscientes de eso, desde el Gobierno de Madrid trabajamos desde hace muchos años en varios ámbitos para conseguir sumarnos a esta revolución. En el ámbito de la educación, en el ámbito del apoyo a los emprendedores y en la liberalización de los mercados. En materia educativa estamos centrados en dar una formación de calidad que despierte la inquietud en nuestros jóvenes y, sobre todo, que les faculte de las herramientas necesarias para competir en un mundo que hoy no tiene fronteras. Hace una década impulsamos la educación bilingüe para que todos nuestros alumnos estudien en inglés y sepan manejar perfectamente la lengua hoy internacional para las relaciones y los negocios. Y hoy estamos convencidos de la necesidad de introducir una segunda herramienta que es estratégica para el desarrollo futuro, como es el conocimiento de la tecnología. No solo para utilizar la tecnología, sino conseguir las habilidades para crear tecnología. Al tiempo que contribuimos al desarrollo del talento de nuestra región, también trabajamos para retenerlo y también para captar talento de fuera, con ayudas para hacer frente a los costes de iniciar una actividad, con asesoramiento para los problemas que puedan surgir, con cursos de formación y con promoción también para la internacionalización de nuestras empresas. Somos conscientes de que estos esfuerzos para ayudar a los emprendedores no son en balde si una vez puesto en marcha ese negocio encuentra la capacidad, el vehículo, el instrumento para llevarlo adelante. Por eso, nuestro compromiso para ayudar a todas estas personas que tienen estas grandes iniciativas, porque del éxito de ellos dependerá nuestro futuro. Vamos a seguir aplicando todas estas políticas que nos están dando buenos resultados. 1 de cada 4 empresas que se crean en España se crean en Madrid. 1 de cada 3 empresas de alta tecnología está en Madrid. Y 1 de cada 4 empleos de alta cualificación tecnológica está en Madrid. Por eso quiero agradecer a Google el que haya decidido poner su campus aquí. Como decía el ministro, es una magnífica elección y, desde luego, contarán con todo nuestro apoyo para llevarlo adelante. Si logramos seguir aumentando las oportunidades, si logramos seguir aumentando la actividad, si logramos conseguir que ese talento no se pierda y que los fracasos no hagan desistir de los sueños, estaremos sin duda sembrando para conseguir seguir liderando el desarrollo futuro, que es nuestro compromiso. En el blog del gigante tecnológico de Google, su directora de emprendedores, Mary Grove, que hoy nos acompaña, reconoce que han elegido Madrid porque el espíritu emprendedor se está consolidando cada vez con más fuerza en nuestra región y esperan ayudar en su robustecimiento y en el desarrollo de la innovación del país y de Europa. Yo se lo quiero agradecer y, sobre todo, felicitarle por esa gran visión. Nos encontramos, sin duda, ante una oportunidad histórica para impulsar un nuevo modelo basado en la tecnología que estoy seguro que servirá para conseguir ganar el futuro. Las startups juegan en esto un papel esencial y el hecho de que Madrid se convierta durante estos días en un foco central del conocimiento de estas iniciativas, de la intercomunicación entre los emprendedores y las grandes empresas, entre los canales de financiación y esos sueños de estos jóvenes, sin duda alguna, es un motivo de satisfacción y de orgullo que yo quiero agradecer un año más a María Benjumea y a todo ese equipo. Y decirles que aquí, en Madrid, siempre tendrán su casa para poder llevar adelante esas iniciativas. Y termino simplemente recomendándoles a todos ustedes que van a pasar unos días aquí, que no dejen de disfrutar de la hospitalidad, de la diversión y de la oferta tan extraordinaria que hace nuestra región en todos sus ámbitos. Muchas gracias y mucha suerte.
Muchas gracias, presidente. Estamos aquí todos disfrutando de esta maravillosa Plaza de Toros, plaza que nos ha cedido la Comunidad de Madrid y que nos va a atender durante todos estos días. Bueno, que comience la música.
You thought you was getting new.